or do. You need space. You can't help it if your mind has changed. So go ahead and break my heart again. Hey, it's Nate from Echo City Music Lab. Today I'm doing a piano tutorial for Break My Heart Again by FINNEAS. This song was a request and I've really enjoyed learning to play it so I could teach it. I do want to say that the piano part in the song is a little bit trickier than most of the tutorials I do here, and I didn't want to cut any corners and simplify it too much, so if you're a little bit more of a beginner, this one might not be for you. There's a lot of different stuff going in this song with all the arpeggios, and in order for the video to not be way too long, I'm going to go a little bit fast on some of it. I will show you all the chords at their core, so if you want to skip all the arpeggios and just play the chords in a simpler way, that can definitely work. And as always, I'll do a full cover at the end. Let's just get into it. So we can start out with the intro chords, which are going to be the same chords for the verse. I do recommend getting the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link down in the description. That'll help you follow along and see where the chords line up with the words that you sing. And it's important to know that this song uses the G major scale. So that's all white keys, except for instead of an F, there's an F sharp. So here's the main chord progression. Let's look at the left hand first. We're just going to do octaves on the roots, so the notes that the chord is named after. So for the A minor 7, we're just going to do an A octave way down here. So here's middle C, all the way down here and there. Then for the D, we're going to come up to the D octave above that. Then we're going to go down to the G, and then down even further for the E minor, so the E is the lowest one. If you can't quite stretch to an octave, single bass notes would work as well. We're in a pretty fast 4/4 time, and each of these chords gets 2 measures, so a total of 8 counts each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and it loops around. Okay, so let's add the right hand voicing. And let me just say, this song is a masterclass in inversions, and we're going to pay close attention to what notes the right hand plays in each chord, not just the order they're in, because later on in the song, a lot of these chords, the order is going to get switched around. So for the A minor 7, we're going to play an E, a G, and a C in the right hand, using the second finger on the G. It's a really nice voicing for this chord. Notice if I got rid of this A and I took this C down an octave, we'd be left with, a root position A minor 7 chord with A, C, E, and G in it. After that, we've got the D chord. So the left hand comes up here, the right hand's gonna do F sharp, A, and D. And then very shortly after that, we turn it into a D7 by dropping that D octave just down to a C there. And it actually comes in on the 4th beat of the first measure of that. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next up, we've got G major 7. Left hand moves down to G. The right hand can kind of stay in the same place. Your thumb can actually stay on the F sharp. And we're going to do a B and a D there. That's a really nice voicing as well. Notice again, if we got rid of that octave and we took the B and D down an octave, we'd be left with that, which is just a root position, blocked out G major 7. G, B, D, and F sharp. Now finally, the left hand goes down to this E, and we're going to just come up and do an inversion of an E minor chord. So G, B, and E, so that's just the first inversion of an E minor chord. So all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that E minor didn't sound quite right, because in the song he goes, we get that nice 9th in there. So the core of the chord is an E minor, but at the end of that intro there, you're gonna actually stretch your hand up here, do an F sharp, then a G, and then an E. So it lands on the chord we talked about. You can also kind of strum the chords, where instead of just hitting it all at once, you sort of... It's a nice little effect that he does throughout the recording. So now we're in the first verse, and that chord progression is just going to repeat. Hey you, I'm just now leaving. can I come around later on this evening? And that's the one spot where it doesn't do the ba-da-da. Instead, it just does F sharp to E, kind of just on evening. Or do you need time? Yes, of course, that's fine. So back to the first one we did. Now the arpeggios start. So essentially, you're just breaking the right hand chord up into its individual components and just going up, up, up in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... One tip I have for arpeggios like this is try to keep the wrist loose. Don't just use finger strength to do that. You can sort of rock your wrist and just keep it nice and relaxed and start slow and build it up to the speed you want. And because we're counting in groups of 4, but there's only 3 notes in the pattern, it ends up having this kind of cool cyclical sound to it. And we end up getting to the top with 1 note left. Now, sometimes my instinct is to go back to the bottom, but sometimes that's a little awkward. Like getting from the D7 to the F sharp, you would have to do that same note twice. So it actually flows a little bit better to do the middle note as the final note in the arpeggio. So like... and then... so that middle note again. Middle note, and then... So that part looks really complicated, but all I'm doing is just doing that same arpeggio pattern and just stepping up the scale. So up to F sharp, up to G, and then back down, just for the top note. So the bottom 2 notes stay the same. E, F sharp, G, F sharp, E. And he makes a lot of use of that kind of pattern throughout the song. Hey you, good morning. I'm sure you're busy now. Why else would you ignore me? Get a little louder on those. Or do you need space? You can't help it if your mind has changed. So go ahead. So now we are in the chorus, and you'll notice that was a tricky moment there. On the recording, it sounds like you're doing that E minor, and it just keeps climbing up. But I've seen him do it live, and he doesn't do that big stretch. He just, at the end, just kind of steps on those notes, and that makes it so much easier. And the little pause in the pattern actually sounds nice before landing in the chorus. So this is how I do it. Starting just as we did before, but then instead of stretching up into that A, we're just gonna lift our hand and drop our 3rd finger on it. This can just keep ringing out, and we're gonna do A, B, and that's so nice because our hand is exactly in the right spot to just drop into the first A minor 7 chord that starts the chorus. For go ahead and break my heart. So one more time on that transition. Or do you need space? You can't help it if your mind has changed. So go ahead. So let's talk about this chorus. The chorus chord progression is basically the same as the verses. Our right hand's up higher, and we're gonna do a few different inversions on the chords than we did before. It does start the same way with the A minor 7 voiced out with the E, G, and C. Now for the D chord, we're just gonna go straight to D7, and instead of moving the right hand up like we did before, left hand does move up to D, and we're gonna keep our right hand pinky on the C, and then just move these 2 fingers down to D and F sharp. So that's sort of the baseline voicing for this D chord. And for the G major 7, left hand goes down just as it did before, but the right hand can mostly stay where it is on the D and the F sharp, and just this note needs to move down and be a B here. So before we were doing it like that, now we're doing it like that. D, F sharp, B. And then the E minor chord is going to get voiced as it was before. So you're just going to lift your hand up and it's going to be in this range. We'll add the arpeggios in just a second, but just the chords is going to be, go ahead and break my heart again. Leave me wondering why the hell I ever let you in. Now it repeats for the most part. Are you the definition of insanity? Or am I? Now here's a curveball. We got this B minor 7. The left hand octave is going to come up to this B here. And in the right hand, all you have to do is drop this B down to an A. So the right hand's kind of doing like a D major chord with the left hand doing the B octaves. Oh, it must be nice. Now we're going to that E minor chord, but we're actually going to bring our left hand up to the higher E. That way we get this stepping down effect for the next couple of chords. So we landed on this E minor, then we've got to love someone. So I just did an inversion on D there. That's going to be A, D, and F sharp. Then stepping down to C, so G, C, E. Then we're just going to step back up to that D chord, but then we're going to drop the D note to a C note to make it the D7 with the similar pacing that we've been doing all along. And then we're going to land on an E minor chord. We're actually going to land right straight into that E, add 9 with the F sharp on top. The timing there's a little strange. We've got a measure of E, then another half a measure of E into the second half being D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you the definition of insanity? Now notice that these next two chords are only one measure each, so that it kind of moves twice as fast. Or am I? Oh, it must be nice to love someone. And I'm actually gonna just switch there. When I hit the C, I'm gonna switch to just doing single notes in the left hand. One who lets you break them twice. So let's add in those arpeggios. They're gonna work the exact same way they did in the verse, just going up in eighth notes. Go ahead and break my heart again. Now, this one's a little weird. So, kind of like we did with the E where we were stepping up with the top note, we're going to do that same thing here rhythmically, but we're going to be stepping down with the top note. So, C, B, G, B, C. So that's leave me wondering what the hell I ever let you in. This E works just like the one in the verse, climbing up with the top note. Are you the definition of insanity? Or am I? Oh, it must be nice. So same thing on the E again. To love someone. Notice it's only on that D for 2 counts, so it's just up and down to the middle, and then we just land the last couple of chords. We're just gonna, nice and simple, hold them out. You can do the little strum, and then finally it lands on an E. So the top note does the 9th, and then just the octave. I'm gonna do the whole chorus slowly. So go ahead and break my heart again. Leave me wondering why the hell I ever let you in. Are you the definition of insanity? Or am I? Oh, So after that, we've got another verse and another chorus. And the next verse is exactly like the second half of the first verse. So once the arpeggio has come in, it's just the words are different. And then the second chorus is just like that first chorus, except it ends a little different as it transitions into the bridge. So let's take it from halfway through that chorus. Are you the definition of insanity? Or am I? Oh, it must be nice. So same so far. To love someone. And then here's where it changes. Instead of going to just chords and single notes here, we're going to keep doing octaves and keep doing the arpeggios. 1, 2, let's you break them twice. So going back up to E here, and we're going to do an inversion. Well, we're going to invert E up into just a root position E minor. So just E, G, B up here. One more time. Or am I? Oh, it must be nice to love someone who lets you break them twice. And we're on this E minor for 4 measures, the last 2 of which we're going to switch to doing just a quarter note pulse in the left hand, so just playing on every count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Don't pretend, and then we are into the bridge. So let's start with the first 2 lines of the bridge, and I'll just sketch out the chords. So we're going back down to an A here, and this time we're just going to do a regular A minor, no 7. It's going to be voiced like this, so the A is going to be on top, and then we've also got an E and a C. I'm using 1, 2, and 5 for the fingers. Don't pretend that I'm the instigator. So this is going to be just a root position, D major, so really just the closest D major to where we are voicing the A. So D, F sharp, A, and then of course to make that the D7, you just got to drop the D to the C there. You were the one, but you were born to... So here's just a regular B major chord. We're doing an inversion of it up here so that our pinky can stay in the same spot. From the G to the B major chord, we're doing D sharp, or the display probably says E flat, F sharp, and B there. Born to say goodbye. So here we're on E minor, and we're going to voice it just like we've been doing all along, but it's getting higher here. An interesting thing about this bridge is now the arpeggios are moving downwards. They work the same way as the other ones rhythmically, but we're going from top to bottom. So that's interesting on the E minor there. It only starts climbing up to the F sharp and G and back down after you've done 3 repetitions of it. 1, 2, 3. Don't pretend that I'm the instigator. You were the one, but you were born to say goodbye. Let's take that around again. And just as I transitioned to doing a quarter note pulse in the left hand as we transitioned into this bridge, I'm just going to keep that pulse going throughout the bridge. Don't pretend that I'm the instigator. You were the one, but you were born to say goodbye. Kiss me half. Now, for the second half of the bridge, we're going to keep moving up with the right hand. We're going to do the same A minor we were just doing before, but it's an octave higher than where we were. Kiss me half a decade later. So same thing with the D, but then after we hit the D7 there, we're just going to get silent. And then it's that same perfume, those same sad eyes. So it's really sudden drop in intensity, and we've got these really simple blocked out chords. So we're doing that same inversion of G we were just doing a second ago. D, G, B, same perfume, those same. So for this B minor, left hand moves up to the B octaves. Right hand's just going to do D, F sharp, B. So two notes in common with the G chord is just this middle note is walking down to the F sharp. Same sad eyes. Keeping that really simple there in the right hand, just E and G. And that brings us to the outro. And the outro is kind of like one more chorus in terms of what you sing, but it just strips way back to just chords. So no more arpeggios, and the voicings of the chords are quite different than it's been at all in the whole song. So let's start with go ahead and break my heart. So notice that's just a regular old A minor there, and it's root position, A, C, E. Go ahead and break my heart again. So this is an inversion of the D major chord that we hadn't seen yet in this song. Thumb stays on A, then we've got D and F sharp again. So dropping it to the D7 there by just putting your second finger down on the C. Leave me wondering. So here's an inversion of G where we got B, D, G. And notice how these inversions are stepping up. The top note keeps getting a little bit higher. Gives this moment a feeling of lifting up. The first part sounds like this. Go ahead and break my heart again. Leave me wondering why the hell I ever let you in. So for this E minor chord, the right hand just does kind of this cool little melody. We're going to hit B and F sharp together, and then you're going to step up and do a G for the melody note, and then a B up there. Second half, the right hand is still kind of rising up higher. This time the A is the A minor 7, voiced as it was at the beginning of the song. Are you the definition of insanity? So this is D7 just as it was voiced in the other choruses, and instead of, we're not doing the arpeggio, but we're still going to do a little melody of just dropping down the top note. Or am I? So here's that inversion of G we were doing before. D, G, B. Or am I? Next, for the B minor 7, we're going to do an inversion on it that's different than the one we did before, which was like that. This one's going to be F sharp, A, and D. It sounds so good how the inversions just keep rising up higher and higher as we get through this section. Or am I? So up to this E minor here, just like it's been throughout the song. It must be nice. So just as we had done it before in the right hand, to love someone. We're going to drop this to make it a D7. Who lets you break them twice? So you're going to end up on that E minor add 9 chord. E, B, F sharp. Okay, that was a doozy. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm going to play it all together now so you can see how it all fits. And maybe you can just practice and learn it by slowing down the video and just watching me play it through and playing along yourself. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know each and every time I release a video like this. Give it a like and let me know in the comments what song you would like to hear next. Here's my version of Break My Heart Again. Hey you, I'm just now leaving. Can I come around later on this evening? Or do you need time? Yes, of course, that's fine. Hey you, good morning. I'm sure you're busy now. Why else would you ignore me? Or do you need space? You can't help it if your mind has changed. So go ahead and break my heart again. who lets you break them twice. You're so blue, are you still breathing? Won't you tell me if you found that deeper meaning? Do you think I've gone blind? I know it's not the truth when you say I'm fine. So go ahead and break my heart again. Leave me wondering why the hell I ever let you in. Are you the definition of insanity? Or am I? Oh, it must be nice to love someone who lets you break them twice. Don't pretend that I'm the instigator. You were the one, but you were born to say goodbye. Kiss me half a decade later, that same perfume, those same sad eyes. Go ahead and break my heart again. Leave me wondering why the hell I ever let you in. Are you the definition of insanity? Or am I? Or am I? It must be nice to love someone who lets you break them twice.